let's render some beef fat with me today. So I get my beef fat from a local farmer. This is grass fed and it's actually called soot, but we're gonna call it beef fat today. So I get it from the farmer. I get like a whole bunch, probably like 20-30 pounds at a time. And I use this for either soap making, or I use this for cooking, baking, skincare, lotion, whatever. Because you can whip this and make a really good skin moisturizer. So as you can see, I am cutting it into, some pieces are quarter size pieces and some pieces are like nickel sized. I'm just kind of breaking it down. It is frozen. I did let it sit out for a little while just so I can, manage it a little bit better. You don't want it super hard, but you do want it to still be very firm because it's easier to kind of break down. The knives that I'm using are complete trash, okay? They are trash. But that's okay. It gets the job done. I do have my little scraper here just to help me scrape up any of the parts that is like melting, possibly. Not melting, but becoming a little bit more softer as I'm cutting, because your hands are warm. So as you're touching it and constantly, maneuvering it, it can become, a lot softer, which means it will get stuck to whatever surface that you're cutting it on. So that is what my little scraper is for. And it's very helpful. But like I said, if you're going to do this, please have some good knives. I didn't have any good knives at the time. So make sure that you do have that. So this process does take a while. If you have a meat grinder, you can actually put this through a meat grinder to save yourself all of the trouble that I'm putting myself in. But I don't have a meat grinder, so therefore I'm going to cut it manually. But maybe your local farmer or rancher or whoever you got the beef from can grind it up for you, and then you can easily use it that way. So the beef fat is really good for skincare. It has a lot of vitamin E. Naturally, it has a lot of vitamin D, a lot of healthy fats. So when cooking with this, you can fry your chicken, your fish, whatever it is that you like to fry. You can also bake with it, bake biscuits. I would suggest if you're going to bake biscuits with it, you make sure that you take that flavor out of it, because it does have a flavor and a smell. So that will cause you to have to render it more than once. I only render once because I don't mind the flavor and the smell. Most of the time, I'm just cooking with it, and like I stated, when I do use it for any skincare products, I just add some essential oils to it. I'm not hung up on the smell because it does not bother me. But if you are someone that cares about like certain smells, then I would suggest you render this down probably 3 or 4 times. I render mine in a crock pot for about I would say roughly 8 to 12 hours on low. And it could be a little longer depending on how much I'm putting in there. So this particular batch did take me a lot longer because this was a lot of beef fat. So I would say it was on low for roughly 16 hours. Normally I don't make this much, but I was sending some to a family member for them to cook with. And as you can see, it has fried the bits together really hard. I'm using a coffee filter. and a strainer, or sifter, a sifter. The coffee filter takes all of those tiny impurities out. Any, little tiny burnt pieces. That's my husband in the background. It takes out the little tiny pieces. It takes out anything that shouldn't be in there. So the coffee filter, the paper one, is great if you do not have this. I'm not sure exactly if it's stainless steel. I don't know which kind of coffee filter this is, but it's a reusable coffee filter. I got it off Amazon, and I will link this in the comments below or in the bio, because discovering that the reusable coffee filter is the best thing for this, because the mesh is super, super, super fine. And when I say it takes everything out of there, and it doesn't take all day to filter. If you're using a paper coffee filter, it's going to take you a while. I'm not going to lie to you. But I will say, either way, you want to make sure you filter this really good. Before, I didn't have neither, and I was using my sifter and a cheesecloth, which is fine, but it takes such a while, and you have to do it a few times. Look at that beautiful gold. It's so beautiful. But yes, so please make sure that you are straining this clean, because if you don't, you can cause bacteria and mold to grow in your beef fat, and that is not what you want. So as you can see here, I'm refilling some jars, and then I'm refilling a jar that I have been using for a couple of weeks now. It does not have to be refrigerated. It is shelf stable. But if you didn't strain it properly, I would say definitely put in the refrigerator if you're not sure. But I am very sure I strained this properly. Most of the time you will know, because the sediments were set at the bottom. And if you check the bottom of your jars, you will have nothing there if you strained it properly. And this is what the finished product is. Thank you for watching.